Hello, it's been quite a while since I did a video like this, and you're probably wondering, why is Wolf on a new channel once again? Well, here's the deal. As my content has gotten more and more involved and more complex, the style of videos that I make has changed quite drastically, to the point where most of my videos at the moment are scripted, they're, recorded, they're edited, they have a lot of time and effort put into them. But the kind of original backbone of my channel, the videos that I was doing for most of my career, which were just kind of a little bit unpolished, unedited, just a very different vibe, a much more unprofessional, much more casual. I don't make those videos anymore. So for a couple months now, I've been thinking about making another channel to kind of do some of this older, some of my older style again. And I think especially with Scarlet and Violet coming out soon, there's no better time like the present. And so I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with this channel. I don't know how often I'll post. I imagine that when Scarlet and Violet come out, it'll be a good place to just kind of dump a lot of information all at once, because my content going into these new games are going to be very different than I've done in the past. But yeah, I thought that it could be a good idea, and I very recently, like 10 minutes ago, became aware of something quite interesting from the new trailer that released today. That is kind of a big deal, especially for people who care about the competitive side of Pokemon. And so I want to give a thank you to my mod, 17 Cats in a Trench Coat, for making me aware of this. And yeah, let's just jump into it. I don't need to waste your time. Let's talk about it. So here is what you need to know. Here's the clip from the trailer today. Now, I've paused on this trailer, right? And so this is 11:48. Why don't we play this for a few seconds and let's see if you notice anything unusual here. Okay, chances of being attacked, Pokemon are attacking, etc., etc. Now pay attention to the top left corner here. As you can see, the Girafarig evolution and Drifloon are both Drowsy, but if we rerun this clip, and you can even see that the Girafarig has like Z's there, but you can see they're both clearly attacking. Farigiraf uses Psybeam, Drifloon uses Shadow Ball here, and you can see there's little like sleeping animation here that in the frame that I've paused, and so this is quite interesting. So for those of you who followed Pokemon for a while, you might be aware that Pokemon cannot attack when asleep. That's just, unless they're using the move Sleep Talk, which will have its own unique call out and its own thing. These Pokemon aren't using the move Sleep Talk. They're using Shadow Ball and Psybeam, not being called by Sleep Talk. So what exactly is going on here? Well, I don't know for sure. There's a couple possibilities. The first is that max raid battles in this game, or whatever they're called, Terra raid battles, are just behave differently. But what I think is more likely is that the status conditions that we saw teased in Legends Arceus, Drowsy, and probably Frostbite might be coming to the main series. So that's kind of a big deal, because sleep has been a mainstay of competitive Pokemon for literally as long as I've been playing, back in 2011 when Amoonguss, and even before then. I mean, Dark Void Smeargle won Worlds in 2008, the very first year of competitive Pokemon, and so sleep has always been a huge mainstay in these games. And now it seems for the first time that they're going to be behaving differently. Now, we don't know for sure. I want to say we don't know for sure that there's a dog outside. We don't know for sure that this is the mechanics from Legends Arceus, but I think that it's fair to read between the lines a little bit. We know that Pokemon can attack while drowsy. Yeah, so I definitely think it's a possibility, though again, not guaranteed. This is just speculation. So I pulled up this list for those to remind myself, first of all, because it's been a while since I played Legends Arceus, and also just to remind everybody else. Let's talk about Drowsy first, because that's the one that we know, that's the one we know has a higher likelihood of being in the game, given that Pokemon are attacking while asleep here. Basically, Drowsy works a little bit like Confusion, where instead of being guaranteed to sleep and not take your turn for 1 to 3 turns, now there is a chance that the Pokemon won't attack. And obviously that was the percentage chance might be different in the actual game versus in Legends Arceus, but in exchange for that, because unlike Confusion, where you take damage in order to differentiate a little bit more, the Pokemon takes increased damage from attacks. Now, I made a video on this when Legends Arceus came out in the older style, and so I can't say for sure how good this would be, but it feels pretty good. It also, like, we don't know how it would work with switching out, because the thing about Confusion is even with the nerfed Confusion, with Confusion being 1 and 3, it is still a pretty powerful status condition. You don't like to be confused because it's so volatile. We don't know for sure like what the damage multiplication is here, and we don't know if switching out will cure Drowsy. Given that sleep was never cured by switching out, I think it's likely that it wouldn't be cured by switching out, but we can't say for sure, of course. So the details matter a lot here. The percent chance of not attacking matters a lot. The increased damage matters a lot, but Yeah, I think that it should be really interesting, to say the least. And I'm really curious how it will affect Pokemon like Amoonguss, who, I mean, Amoonguss will still be good, of course, but the thing is that, like, for a lot of Pokemon, in order to balance sleep, a lot of Pokemon that can put you to sleep are not the not the strongest, like Butterfree. It's a lot of grass types. Butterfree, Venusaur is strong but inconsistent, only a sleep powder. And the more accurate sleep moves like Spore are really limited in distribution. It's like Amoonguss, Breloom, whatever Morlul evolves into, Shiinotic. So basically it's very, very, very limited in distribution. Yeah, so basically these Pokemon, especially Pokemon like Amoonguss, who for a long time have been very good because of how strong sleep is, I'm really curious to see how this affects them. The other thing that's worth noting is that the freeze has always been the single worst status condition in Pokemon. I don't think many people would dispute that. Confusion, paralysis are both annoying. Sleep is annoying as well. They're all annoying in their own right. But freeze is just, it's pretty much pure variance. There's no way to trigger it consistently. You can't there's no Will-O-Wisp or Thunder Wave or Glare or Poison or Toxic equivalent, right? There's nothing that can guaranteed hit you, get you inflict freeze. So it's always only as a low probability secondary effect, which is normally, I want to say 10%. I think Ice Beam's freeze chance is 10%. I don't think anything's above 20 that's used consistently. I'm actually going to check that right now because this is how I used to do things. Yeah, 10% in Ice Beam. So basically it only ever happens as a 10% chance. Most of the time it's 10% chance of occurring. And the way that freeze works currently is that every turn that you're frozen, you have a 20% chance of thawing out. And if you don't thaw out, you are frozen and you can't attack for the turn. There's no way out of that. And so it's a very annoying, very uncompetitive status condition because it only occurs randomly, and then when it occurs there's so much variance in terms of do you thaw it immediately or are you frozen for 10 turns, and it has such a huge impact because it basically puts you, being frozen is in many situations worse than being knocked out if you stay frozen, because it turns the battle into a 2v1, whereas if you're knocked out you can at least send another Pokemon a lot of the time. And so super uncompetitive status condition. It really sucks. Nobody likes it. It only adds variance. It's not skill intensive. I can't say enough bad things about this status condition, right? Now, if we talk about Frostbite, it's a lot more interesting. And so I would say that I actually don't mind sleep. I think that it's annoying to deal with, but I think that it's overall, I wouldn't say balanced, but it's not horrible, so it's okay. Frostbite I'm actually excited for. So basically, Frostbite can be explained very simply. It is the equivalent of burn. So sleep turns into a confusion equivalent. Frostbite turns into a special burn equivalent. So what does that mean? It means that so both burn and Frostbite take 1/16 of the opponent's HP per turn, which is enough. It's not a huge amount, but it does add up over time. But more importantly, while burn cuts all damage from physical attacks in half, Frostbite cuts all damage from special attacks in half. And so it can be a really interesting control tool. Burn has always been I think burn is exactly where a status condition should be, where it's really impactful. It's not super high variance at all. I mean, other than moves not having guaranteed burn chance. And it doesn't take a Pokemon out of commission, but it does weaken it significantly. And I think I really like burn. I think it's my favorite status condition because it just feels really good to use. So I'm personally really excited for Frostbite. I do want to reiterate that we don't know for sure that Frostbite or Drowsy are in this game, but the fact that Pokemon are attacking while inflicted with the ZZZ condition, I think is indicative of something at least. And of course it might just be just for this one mode. It might just be for this limited, little game, but I don't think so. And the truth is, the reason I don't think so is because Pokemon in many ways has been trying to make their games easier and simpler to understand and to play. And I think to have a core mechanic of your game behave differently in your boss mode, which is intended for single players, compared to the entire rest of the game would be extremely confusing. So while we don't know for sure that Drowsy is in this game, I think it is extremely likely. Yeah, and Frostbite speculation, of course, but if they're going to change, basically of the two status conditions, sleep was by far the better. It wasn't good, but freeze was just so horrible that freeze has been so horrible that if you're going to touch one of them, you 100% touch freeze. So the fact that we see we see sleep being changed in some way is pretty strong evidence, in my opinion, that freeze has also been touched. So let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think about the second channel here, or fifth channel at this point. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of nice to do these kind of unedited videos again. Yeah, any feedback, any thoughts, feel free to share them in the comments, and let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about. Thanks for watching. See you whenever. Bye-bye.